So we've just come back from the launch of Street Support and It Takes a City, a Cambridge homelessness partnership. And I'm joined by Rachel Bryant from the organisation, who's going to tell us a little bit more about it. So to kick things off, can you just set the scene and tell us a bit more about Street Support and how it all came about?
Yes, last year in November, 150 people joined from the community representing business, agencies, those with lived experience, the council, to cover key themes and conversations around the issues we were facing in Cambridge around this particular issue of homelessness. And as a result of the summit, there has formed 7 action groups looking at key themes within the city, such as youth homelessness, women's homelessness. And that's been great. There's been such a hive of activity happening, even in such a short space of time. And as a result of that, we decided in order to oversee all of that work, it would be good to look at developing It Takes a City, a Cambridge homelessness partnership, to help form and collaborate all of the work that's happening in a unified way. And as a result of that, the first action coming out of one of the groups, which was the digital group that you were involved in and have been involved in, was the launch of the Street Support Cambridge digital platform, which is a website which will help people in the community know where they can give help, and it will also help those with facing homelessness actually to know where they could receive help. So yes, we launched both the partnership looking at a collaborative approach in the city and also launching the Street Support network for Cambridge that the city can use to help them know what's happening, because there's so much happening in the city, so it's great to put it all together.
And can you tell us a bit more about the sort of content that people would find on the app? And I think it's helpful for people who are on the streets, but then also people in the community that want to help as well.
Yeah, it's great. There are a number of agencies on the website that you can search by postcode or perhaps by location as Cambridge. But if you want to search for ones that are closer to you, whether that you're a local business or an individual, you can search and have a look what's happening in the city and what agencies and organisations are out there that are providing critical work to those who are experiencing homelessness. It also gives you an opportunity to see perhaps where they might need some help, some volunteer support or some resource as well, and where you might be able to give help financially. So there is so much on there. It'd be great for you to just go and have a little look and have a look at it yourself, and also give us your feedback. You can also download the app onto your phone, which would be really good if you're out and about and you see somebody who's experiencing homelessness and you want to maybe give some advice or support about where to go. Then having it on your phone and knowing how to refer people in and where they can go would be really helpful, actually. Perhaps when you see people sleeping rough, many people think, well, what are we actually doing? There is a lot going on in Cambridge, and part of the partnership is just joining up those dots and piecing things together and really collectively looking at addressing the issues, and it helps the community know that actually there is a lot happening and where to go to get the right help and support.
Yeah, one thing I find with it is that it's so useful because it pulls together all the information into one place. And I know myself from being part of the digital inclusion group, there was someone that commented to me, with someone who had lived experience, that when he arrived in Cambridge, it was about 6 months before he realised that Winter Comfort even existed. So you wouldn't necessarily just know it's there. And so the app is going to be really helpful in bringing together all of these organisations into one place instead of these kind of very individual websites and points of information.
Yeah, it's great. And I mean, it must be doing a great thing if 22 cities have now joined the platform. We're crying out for cities to work more collaboratively together to actually identify what's available and where people can really go. And like you said, how do you know if you turn up in a city where to go? I mean, it's hard enough when you move somewhere to find out how to build community, but actually turning up without a home and without finances and without the support you need must be very isolating. So to have that platform that you can have a look on to go, where do I receive help, and those with lived experience are helping us shape the platform so we can know how we can make it more accessible and supportive for them, and them involved in the decision making and giving us advice and thoughts on how it might be better used is really helpful.
Yeah, this is something I've noticed about the project from day one. So I was really struck at the summit last November how it was a very deliberate decision to make sure that people with lived experience were included every step of the way. Can you tell me a bit more about the impact that's had on the project?
I think it's critical that we involve those with lived experience in shaping services, because they have been there and they have faced the barriers and the challenges. And if we're to improve services going forward, not just in homelessness but in any service, I think it's critical that we involve those who have had experience of it, because we if you haven't been there yourself, it's hard to see what would help. But actually, if somebody can say, well, this would have helped me, and I think, as you've said, there's been a number of people with lived experience that have said, well, if this was present, that would have really helped me or prevented me from going here. So having them involved in the decision making means that services are much better shaped to really help the needs of the community.
So we're just going to hear from one of these people that's been involved, Lee, and he's a big ambassador for the project.
So the reason I got involved in the project, on June the 13th, I become homeless. So I had a choice. I could either go completely nuts in my own town, or I could come back to Cambridge where I studied. And I still had friends here, so I came here. And people didn't even give me a chance to go crazy. They honestly, Tony and Guy cut my hair every month. 37 people in that place would come out and talk to me regularly and daily. Hardy Sweet Shop would wash my clothes. It stretches all the way down to Magdalen College, where Williams wrote a reference for my actual big issue job. I mean, the ex-Archbishop of Canterbury is pretty cool, isn't it? And then it stretches all the way to Sainsbury's, Lilac Rose. They used to do stuff from everybody down that street. Just this weird phenomenon that happened. Just started, saying, come on, Lee, you're different, you can do this. And now I'm going to have a market stall opening in a few weeks thanks to Street Aid. I got a grant, which I paid 10 weeks rent in advance for. So all the way up to Christmas, I got my rent paid on a market stall. I run the whole big issue. I'm a franchisee of this trust. I've attended every co-production group. I mean, literally, you heard today, there was all them groups. I've been in most of them groups in my spare time, because I really want to change things. My ignorance was bliss. I spent 20 years walking past homelessness, sometimes living in my own world, and then suddenly I become homeless. It's horrible. But you've seen by this app, you go on that app, there is food available. That phrase, there's no such thing as a free lunch. This city is amazing. Any homeless person here can get breakfast, lunch and dinner 7 days a week. Yeah. This app is going to eliminate a lot of, not ignorance, but once the public realises all this support, and then they can donate, all that money that gets wasted, can now be put forward to these wonderful organisations.
So what's next for Street Support? And a big question as well, lots of people listening will be wondering, how can they help? How can they get involved?
As we said, it's quite a new platform, so we have been doing some testing on it. So we really would like the community of Cambridge to go online, have a look at it, streetsupport.net, and have a look online, have a look at the platform, go and search under the location of Cambridge, and have a look what's on there, looking at the services that are there to help the community know where to give help, and also where homeless people can receive help. So go and have a little look, have a little check around, give us your feedback, would be great. Download the app, put that onto your phone, so if you're out and about and you do come across somebody that might need some help, you've got that information straight there as well. And also have a little look at what the needs in the community are from the various agencies, particularly as it's coming up to the winter months, and local organisations, businesses, people in the community might want to help and see where they can give of their time or their resources. So it'd be a really great way to see what the agencies in the city might need from the community.
So Street Support was born out of the Digital Inclusion Group as part of It Takes the City, and there's also a group for employability, youth, women. So can you tell me a bit more about where the whole project is going?
So in the last year, we have seen at the launch event that we had at the Gonville Hotel, so much has happened and there's so much movement, so much momentum. It's really, really exciting. But in order to move the work forward, we do need people to think about how they might be able to support us. At the moment, we have a lot of people giving of their time, free volunteer time. In order to move forward the work, we do need to build some capacity and some resource to employ some posts to help oversee all the actions that are happening. So for us at the moment, it's moving to the next stage of strengthening the partnership, putting in some key resource, calling out for the community to help us around maybe some expertise and support that they could give us around issues related to housing or information around digital communication, free marketing, all of the things that you can imagine that a partnership might need in terms of building the resource, in terms of its effectiveness. So financially, there's some needs there, as well as the community helping us with around some pro bono advice. So I think it's about how we grow that, move that forward, strengthen the partnership, but also help the community understand that there is a partnership within the city and how they can engage. So we are looking at strengthening the digital communications, and so people can really see what's happening. The street support network will help us do that as well. So I think it's carrying on from strength to strength, and looking at where local businesses might want to come on board and support the work, as well as those within the community as well.
So I think the name It Takes City really sums up for me what the project is all about. So no one person can fix this problem, but there's still a lot to do. So thank you so much for coming in, Rachel, and streetsupport.net. And what about your email address as well, if people need to contact you?
Yeah, it's rachel@ittakesthecity.org.uk.
Thank you very much.